JK,
Ah,
can you do a premonition for me?
yes.
With wits.
Oh, with wits? Okay.
Yeah. This is something that triggers.
I'm gonna use some willpower on that.
Potential bestial failure. Yeah.
Let's go. 4 successes.
4. Well, you were still in your haven, reading your book, and Alfred is sort of preparing everything. He's just laying things on tables and making sure you have all the right ingredients, and he's trying to figure out whether you need a fresh person to kill for the ritual, or if the virgin blood should suffice. But you're removed from your haven, at least mentally, and you see a long clinical hallway. You're kind of stuck in someone else's head. You can see a clipboard that's been written on in front of you, just jotting down what you think is a serial number, and you recognize the term IC0. He's turning into a room where you see 2 body bags. He opens one of them. You can see it's the skeleton of Lady Blackmore, and describes it as more monstrous than what they have seen before. And perhaps it's an entirely new species or type of IC0. And he opens the other one, and you can see from the clothing that it's Victor, the guy whose head you're in. He notes down that the clothing are unscathed, but the body seems to have burned to not to a crisp, but yeah, at least the skin is all gone. We had to have 4, and you think for a moment you see Alex, but kind of in the corner of your eye, you're not sure. And then you return to yourself in your haven.
I pull out my phone and I send a text to Naomi. Victor's alive. But crisp.
Well, you get the text anyway. Muted.
It's confusing when you have 2 mutes.
Yeah. Now you're good.
Does JK want me to respond to that?
Your choice.
Yeah, okay. So I was actually gonna do it in chat, but I might as well just do it with voice. She basically like, where is she now? Back at her shop still?
Mm.
Okay. Yeah, I guess she's like playing on her phone. What was like the social media of the time in Britain? Like, I guess
Facebook is there in
Facebook.
2013, I think.
Yeah, she's on Facebook, and then she sees the text message, and then she almost like chucks her phone and was like, "What do you mean, crispy?" What does that even mean?
He's burned. Blackmore's skeleton. Alex was there?
JK, we've been through this before. Like, we've worked with burn bodies. 1, 2, 3. What are we talking here?
Victor doesn't have skin. Blackmore doesn't have flesh. Alex was a ghost? Question mark?
So she's like, I guess she kind of had her journal beside her. She kind of like takes all these notes, being like, "Oh shit. Is there anything?" Like, she's excited. She's sad. Like, all these emotions basically just completely flood in and like take over her to the point where like her beast kind of wakes up a bit. But like, it's stressful, but a good stressful. Like, basically, like, do I need to come over, I guess, in text? Like, what do you, like, what can I do?
I don't have
She has
any
no
other
idea.
information, sorry. That's all I saw.
Okay. That's all I saw. Okay. Does she still have that burn ability? That she can think about someone and then burn them?
Don't think you've learned the ritual yet.
Shit.
And you would need some of their blood to do it.
Okay. So, JK, you're basically telling me to talk to Alex, right?
Yes.
Okay. Basically take that conversation exactly and throw it at Alex with the same text message.
Just like
And then throws,
Victor's alive, question mark, exclamation mark, question mark, yeah.
yep. So, and then she more or less goes up to her bedroom, like just constantly walking back and forth in order to like wait for Alex. And then even debates on like taking a taxi to his place, basically. That's it.
Yeah, before we get to that, JK, Alfred is obviously looking at you, trying to fiddle around with your Nokia. Or whatever it is, that's, I assume is an old phone.
Yeah.
Because you hate using them. And he just asks with, well, his facial expression, what's up, or if anything is important right now.
Well, it doesn't have to do with me right now, so it's fine. Just... Victor seems to have survived burning himself at the stake, figuratively.
Oh, good, right?
Nah, the Second Inquisition has him,
Bad.
I guess.
For all of us.
That it is. They also have Lady Blackmore in her very Tamisha look.
But she's destroyed, right?
She's a skeleton.
Should be destroyed.
Seemingly.
His eyes go white for a moment and says, definitely destroyed.
Good, good.
I don't think Vara is here at the moment. She's kind of wandering the place. I think you kind of just try to have as normal as of conversation you can have and comfort her as she's walking around, and she's kind of getting used to the idea of being corporeal again. But she is happy about returning to the world of the living, even though everything she basically knew was dead except for you.
Fair.
Yeah. The Morrigan is having the time of her life with that book. And it seems like it actually, within half a night or something, it does something with her vocabulary. And she is stating that the book is quite fun and flippant.
You need more blood for it? I assume you're getting close to running out.
No, I can go out for a night run if I need it, but
Be careful, there's a lot of pestilence in the area.
we don't get sick.
This disease I wouldn't try it with, I don't think.
Oh, I need warts then, and she starts taking off her clothes and finding some blue pigment. And she seems like she's warding herself in war paint all over her body, basically. Takes a good while to do, but it seems very intricate. And yeah, she has no problem with her nakedity at all. It seems like the most natural thing in the world for her.
Okay. While she's doing that, could I just look through the pages she's written so far and see if I recognize any of the other names she mentions?
She's writing about, you can do an either academics or occult and intelligence to recognize the name, but it seems she's writing just half thoughts about. You kind of gather she's excited about someone returning. 8 with a crit. Knight. The Celtic god of battle, which you apparently piece together is her husband.
Okay. Does it say whether he's still in existence or not?
She's excited, and she is going to wake her up. She does not know how to navigate Oblivion, and does not know how to find her way back to the tomb with the 12 sarcophagi. But her mind is definitely on her husband. And she does not care about the 10 others down there.
Fair enough. JK will try to grab a piece of paper and start jotting down what he remembers from the path they took from the door in the underground caverns through the Shadowlands.
Well, you can draw it going off your same occult roll, 8 with a crit. It's the labyrinth is a weird place that changes, so you're not even sure that road exists anymore.
It's still something to go off of for.
Yeah, and it's it's below the Tempest, whatever that means, in that space.
Yeah. I
Can
think
you?
JK will then just go and make sure that all the corpses he is currently getting ready for funerals and stuff, that he has pierced all of their organs properly, and perhaps do a straight one through their head for each ear hole to make sure that they don't get up anytime soon.
Oh, it was the heart that reanimates them, so you've very
right.
carefully removed the hearts of everybody that has come in here to make sure they don't wake up in the middle of a funeral, because that would be bad for everyone involved. They seem very angry when they wake up once in a while at, well, you, but you think it's because you're there and can see them. So they're kind of just lashing out at whatever is willing to listen. But you're good at what you do, and you can remove their hearts without doing too much cosmetic after to cover it up.
And then I'll just place the hearts in jars and date them and put the name of the person on them.
Very blackened hearts. Filled with oblivion. Might be a good component for spells, actually. Or ritual. Ceremonies is the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
But you catalog it. It's a quiet evening. In Alfred's opinion, you should be able to resurrect her the following night. So if you just continue learning the intricacies of the ceremony, then he'll just be there to assist and make sure that nothing from outside influences what you're trying to achieve. Wouldn't be very good if someone else possessed her body in the middle of it.
Correct. That wouldn't be preferable. JK will hand, I think, a couple of the hearts to Albert. I think your friend in the other dimension we went through might be interested in these.
It could be. It's something unique I haven't seen before. I mean, I've seen disease from that originated in Oblivion, but I've never seen it do that.
Might be valuable.
Definitely. Might need to do something about the potential Masquerade breach. Might. Not that I really care, but wouldn't be good to have corpses walking around in the street for us, I think.
I'm pretty sure they already are.
Yeah, you're right. Why bother? Focus on more important things.
One thing at a time.
Yeah. I don't even know what it would require to do an exorcism on that level, but it's interesting to think about nonetheless.
Second Inquisition probably knows.
They can deal with it then.
Agreed. And then JK will just keep reading in the book and learn the ritual.
Albert says, I'm leaving, I'm going to hell and getting something. Perhaps
Okay.
selling some of the hearts. But I will be back before dawn. Just to make sure we wake up together.
See you then.
See you then. He does the awkward tap on your shoulder, as much affection as you can show, and leaves the basement area. Is there anything else you want to do, research or prepare, other than going through the spells?
Not really. There's nothing else he wants to focus on right now.
Alrighty. Can you do one last roll for me then? Do a... I think that'll have to be academics and intelligence. Eight with a messy crit. Okay, well, it's a passive thing, but I might be able to do something fun with this. I'm gonna keep it in mind. But it seems like you're picking up on the ceremony and what is required quite fast. And even locating it in this huge tome. I think you're, the messy crit is, you're completely, what's the word I'm looking for? Mesmerized by the book. Like the entire world right now does not matter and you're just in it. And if somebody would talk to you right now, you wouldn't respond. Kind of feel the essence of the book. And it's not seeping into you, but it's kind of resonating with the oblivion inside you. And then we jump scene. Naomi, you're in your shop. You just texted Alex. He seems to be busy at the moment.
Okay.
He does not reply immediately, but you hear. No, don't. Well, you hear the kind of feet landing on the floor, and the lights flicker for a moment. And from your growing room downstairs, you hear the voice of Nemesis. It's awfully bright down here.
She says under her breath, "Bitch, get some sunglasses." She walks downstairs.
I'm not sure it would be enough. She's kind of like trying to cover her eyes from all the grow lamps in the room.
Oh, she's fuming, but she tries her best to be a primogen representative.
Are you
She's
trying
kinda
to keep your cool and not show your feelings?
Yes.
Alright, do a composure subterfuge for me.
Sweet.
I think we should actually do both of us.
Okay. Oh,
So-
okay. How does that play out? Because our plants normally react to our emotions, so they might look defensive. Oh, that's not bad. It certainly wins. Okay.
And then we do the opposite. So you do wits insight
Okay.
plus your all specs.
Oh, there it is.
Well, 2. None of you are hiding anything. Well, right now, kind of looking through each other.
My Auspex is at 2 or 3. I can't remember.
2.
Okay, 2. Cool.
Well, you don't need to reroll. It's on the money. So yeah, none of you are very good at hiding what you're feeling and things right now, or at least you're very good at seeing through each other's bullshit. But she tries to force a smile. She's not her cold self right now, and you can see it's an act, but she tries to look sad and says, "I heard about Victor. I'm so sorry, dear."
Can she tell there's like she doesn't give a shit?
She does not give about shit about Victor, but she does give a shit in the sense that she needs something from you, so she's trying to be nice.
Yeah, okay. That was one thing James was good at, is rubbing off. Let's keep everything cordial. Is that the word? Cordial. She is trying to not snap at her, like not to like, don't touch my plants. Why the fuck are you here? I don't need you here. You're the last thing I want. And she basically says, yeah, how do you know about Victor?
I know everything, dear, and it's come to my attention that no one has come to see you or ask how you're doing or give you options. I mean, I want us to be friends, of course. Why wouldn't I? And I feel like maybe I can help you a bit. You can help me a bit.
She's like, okay. Mentally, she's like, okay, we're scratching each other's back. And she knows she's absolutely bullshitting. If she really knew everything, Vaughn did comfort her, or at least try to, so that was horseshit. She just shrugs it off, whatever, it's business. Would you like anything? I have a blood bag in the fridge for if you...
I'm afraid that does not sustain me anymore.
Oh. Tell me about that. She pulls up, sitting on her medical chair to kind of like lean in onto her table, just kind of like analyzing her.
Well, I've come to ask something of you, maybe give you a few hints and figure out how far you're willing to go to get back what you love. I know the feeling of having a mission.
She tells her to hold it right there. And you're young, but I think you're capable of stuff. If you really think and want to be my friend, you can be straightforward. You don't have to hint stuff.
Fair enough. Do you trust me?
Can I roll?
No, it's totally up to you. I mean, you know how and who she is.
Yeah. She hasn't exactly talked to Killjoy yet, and she kind of wished he was a third party in this particular discussion. Unfortunately, it's a little unannounced, but she's willing to take a stab at the situation, all puns intended. Yeah, sure. She tries to get as comfortable as possible without trying to show too much hate towards her. Sorry, go on.
First of all, I'm gonna point you in the right direction, so you can figure out I'm not bullshitting.
Okay.
He can definitely be brought back. Mr. Aldrich, he has a bookshop and he has quite a assortment of occult tomes. And I think if you ask him about a book that describes Orders of the Awakened, he would be able to point you towards something called the Order of the Eternal Flame, and you might learn a bit more about where your boyfriend came from.
Again, sorry, this is a bit sudden. She goes to her phone, texts Killjoy straight up, being like, Nemesis is here, ... and then sends it off. And then she basically takes a mental snapshot of the book name. And JK, what do you use? I assume your text too, because of Killjoy. She sends that exact book title, and I assume JK knows her Naomi well enough to know like the general context of why she's even sending this book in the first place, or at least the title, whatever. And then the one thing that I've been really curious about I don't think, and this is out of character, I don't think Naomi is aware of that mythical shop.
You've met Mr. Aldrich?
Okay.
And you know where the shop is. I mean, he's Toreador, you're his primogen, but I don't think you've visited it.
Okay.
But it's an antiquitarian store, I think it's the word.
Yeah, was the only portal through Victor's location?
Yeah.
Or yeah. Okay, fuck. She offers a counter. Help me find Victor's place. Help me get there.
Do you think I would be here talking to you if I knew how to get in there?
Touché.
I mean, I help you, you help me. There's a certain thing I want. Might not be there. Might be locked away behind that big painting in the prince's penthouse, but who knows?
Okay.
I know.
Go on.
I know where Victor is, and I know what happened that night. I can help you see it. Again, I sense you don't trust me, but the book is a good place to start. I personally cannot tolerate the man. He's way too Toreador for me. But, I mean...
What's wrong with a Toreador?
Says the Toreador who wanted to be a Tremere.
This dirty little motherfucker. Anyways, she lands in, I guess. It tries to keep the most stone cold face possible. How do you feel about my coterie? Let's step back a few steps.
Feel about them? I mean, do you feel anything when you see an ant walking across the street? Do you feel anything when you're looking at a rat in an alley? They're just there. I mean, they're a bit harder to move around than the board. But ultimately they're there. Some are more in my way than others.
Since we're friends, I'll be a little straightforward with you. I'm more concerned about if this ant that you perceive crossing the street is 18 feet tall, taking one step, or smaller than a molecule, taking 1,000 steps across this road.
I don't know if you're gonna like my answer.
Let's wing it.
Let's just say I'm mostly indifferent about you guys. And sometimes you're annoying. Other times you're useful.
That is if I'm not insulted, although that is what I've heard quite a bit by anyone who's ever described a Camarilla, so it's nothing new.
I have a history with them. And the
Yeah.
previous Archons.
Oh. Does she know the exact math on how old she might be then?
She seems young though in some of her things. Like, I don't think Killjoy has mentioned it, but I think he has used the phrase "she is young."
Of course, yeah, she's quite youthful, and being a vampire doesn't obviously help with that. Do you have a time limit on this endeavor? I know I'm more, let's say, magic leaning.
It's ultimately up to you how long you want Antigen to have their greasy hands on your boyfriend.
Antigen, good to know. Everything I needed to know. She's like, Nemesis, I'm sorry. You come with me if you like, but unfortunately, I really do have to go. And she just grabs her shit and kind of like tries to rush her out.
To see Mr. Aldrich?
No, I need to talk to to our prince.
Hopefully not about me.
They will only know as much as a Tremere is capable of, which you should be well aware of.
Well, I need you to bring him back.
Where the fuck have you been? Of course.
And I'm willing to help. It's just one tiny little thing that we don't have to talk about right now, but I assume you can guess what it is when we get to it.
Everyone wants something. Let's go.
Well, I want to get into a place that only one man can get to. And he's a crisp corpse at the moment.
Yeah, we're on the same page.
Good. But you should still look into that book. That might help you bring him back.
I am on it. Don't you worry about that. That being said, I do me a favor, and I will do my best not to ward my location from your kind.
I would almost love to see you try, but fair enough. It's always better to come invited.
Well, since I don't really have any personal beef with you, it's I have a feeling you're trying your best to earn some trust here. So, as I said, let's get our fucking feet to the pavement.
She walks,
Well, we got shit we gotta do.
she walks upstairs with you and out of the shop and disappears into a shadow.
She does not trust that at all. Not with a 10-foot pole, not with... She grabs a taxi and just like, book it, you have to go. Like, we need to get there as soon as possible.
You're going to Alex's?
If he is there. Well, she's gonna show up and to figure out if he's there or not.
He's not responding at the moment. And neither is JK, which is weird, but they must be occupied.
That's the only lead she has, so yeah.
Well, there's the shop on the way.
Okay.
If you want to poke your head in, or you can wait for JK to answer his text if he knows anything about that particular book.
Let's jump out. Let's figure it out. Why am I going here?
Aldrich had the book.
Oh, okay, yeah. Let's go do that. That's a little suspicious.
You quickly get there through cab or running or whatever. It's not far away from your domain.
Okay.
But it's a very nice store. It's brightly lit, much like your own showroom. It's well, you're familiar with some things, but you don't know what all these objects are. It's various statues and bracelets and things you would normally find in a museum. You see a woman you've seen before, this young, about 23, she's not nervous, but she's very giddy, and very adamant about doing her job well. But the door is closed. And a close sign, but she's kind of moving some things around. And she looks up, and you can hear her calling with your heightened senses, kind of frantically. But Mr. Aldrich, the Primogen is here. You could hear his voice from further in. Oh shit! Didn't invite her or anything. But Kara, she walks quite fast. She's Toreador as well, up to the door and opens it and smiles. Says, "Good evening, Primogen. Come in. Sorry, we didn't know you were coming or anything. We would have done, I don't know, something."
Oh, that being said, sorry, I gotta rewind. She quickly gets ready. After obviously Nemesis leaves, also blushed. I just want to make sure that's very clear.
Do the rouse?
Yeah.
I think you hit the wrong one.
Oh, did I?
I think you hit remorse.
Yeah, sorry, my bad.
Hunger Game.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
you hear the beast complaining about why you didn't kill your dad, and that was the deal. And then she goes quiet.
Well, guilty must suffer. And she keeps it at, like, she says that internally.
Yep. But yeah, you
She's wearing heels. She's a bit more dressed up. She nods, takes in a lot of her environment, obviously uses her heightened senses, and just patiently awaits, with the guidance of the Toreador, to anticipate meeting him, but also says, this is a little bit time-sensitive circumstances. I apologize. I'll do better to formally notify.
Oh, it's fine. Come on in. I'm gonna make some tea. She rushes upstairs.
Okay.
And Eldridge comes out. He's, well, a man in his 30s. Shoulder long hair. His eyes are like it's void. They are brown, but very, very, very brown. So in the right light, they look like his, well, pupils or an iris are one. He has the same kind of aura about him as JK.
Oh,
the
interesting.
Shark in the water kind of thing. Well, he's smiling and he's being a charming British man with the same kind of. Well, he carries himself like a cavalryman, very straight back, like he's used to sitting on a horse. He has the cane in his hand, his left hand, and you can see below his jacket is an antique revolver.
Oh.
But he's taking your hand, if you allow him, and it's, welcome to my shop, Primogen. It's an honor.
Yeah, it's absolutely lovely to see you.
It's super aesthetically pleasing in here, by the way. It does
she's
call on something. It's not paintings and art, but the way
Yeah.
the artifacts are displayed, it's very nice.
Yeah. I guess, is it called her Bane? It's been a while. That kind of hums a little bit in the background.
Yeah, it's the opposite of your Bane, basically. This is Torridor going, ah.
Yeah. I forgot what's the word for it when it's the opposite of Bane.
I think, well, you're not entranced, but it could be like a compulsion almost.
Yeah. That's exactly what I was talking about. Yeah, that's kind of distracting her a little bit at the moment. It's hard to focus, really. She catches the eye of the gun. She doesn't really know much about it, but she kind of takes a mental note. Yeah, I had a surprise visit. Unfortunately, as I said before, a little bit time sensitive. So I heard there was something I should look at, and kind of like studies his face as if he knows what she's talking about.
Come in the back, and he leads you to a pair of very comfortable chairs, and he's just gesturing, take a seat if you will. Kara very fast comes down with some tea. And before he goes over his shelves, he just sniffs it and smiles and says, I can't drink it, but I do like the smell of it.
Yeah.
Puts down the cup and asks, what kind of book are you looking for?
So there wasn't anyone waiting. Like, there was no one that stopped by that told you about. She's a very distinct looking person. She goes. She's very charming, I guess. Did you have any customers recently that looked like X description of Nemesis, but without saying her name?
No, I saw her once on a rooftop for a brief moment, but not recently. I think she was just scouting out the place.
Okay. She doesn't really have much information on this dude. Does she know that if she can trust him? Is there any way that I can roll something to get more information about him?
You can do an insight to see if he's lying,
Okay.
but right now he's just trying to figure out what you want.
Is it intelligence?
Or a wits. It depends if you're scanning him or if you're just going by gut feeling.
Okay.
4. Well, I'll just keep the roll in mind for the conversation, but you're definitely scanning him, and right now he genuinely seems to figure out. He's very excited about you being here.
Okay.
No harmful intent. It seems like he's delighted to have visitors, actually. And,
Lovely.
He always calls you either Miss Townsend or Primogen.
Okay.
And he calls Kara Miss Quinn, and she always calls him Mr. Aldrich, and he will not respond to anything but Mr. Aldrich. You quickly figure that out, because if you try to say Aldrich, he won't respond, like you're not even there.
Interesting.
So the Mr. has to be there.
Yeah, titles are important, apparently. Then that being said, she kind of reads the room and was like, let's talk about business for a bit. And she just kind of chops up about, like, how's everything been going, about that kind of stuff, to kind of linger a bit longer.
He's settling nicely into London. He's glad to be out of Swindon. Horrible place. He can't talk much about it, he says, because of security reasons. But,
okay.
But just to mention off game, the book you're looking for were unawakened, basically. Awakened houses. Nemesis set.
Yeah. Yeah, she just needed a bit more time to kind of think of, like, a direction she could possibly go. She looks around his place, compliments it, says, "This is lovely. It reminds me of a house of someone that I'm currently looking for." He kind of went a little bit MIA. This book will help with this process, and I'm not personally familiar with it. I know he could have owned this book possibly at one point, because she's looks around and was like, obviously you're a collector of some sort. So do you collect books? Is this something that you... Okay. Can she use Seen the Unseen? Can I do that? Okay.
You don't need to roll for it.
Okay.
There's a couple of magical things in the showroom, but
Okay.
nothing in here.
And is there anything that gives off an aura that is particularly powerful that he currently possesses?
A fetish of Gaia, you think?
Oh shit, okay. Then okay. So I just assume his intelligence, like he's aware of what he actually owns, not just like it's frivolous. She says the book name and really kind of watches for any subtle responses.
Oh,
if possible.
Yes, private collection. Just a moment. Kara, will you run down the big red one? The one with the weird symbols on them.
Okay.
She quickly, again, goes down to a basement level, it seems. Something that has probably just been a trapdoor with, I don't know, storage. But quickly returns with a leather-bound book, a red leather-bound book. And it does have weird arcane symbols on it. It's not thaumaturgy, and there is an aura about it. But it's not that weird because the book looks pristine in condition. And he opens it, flicks through it, and he points to the section that describes the Order of the Eternal Flame. And there's even a small painting. And it's kind of hard to see, but you have auspex, and you can swear that one of the guys in that painting is Victor. But the painting is at least 400 years old.
Does this, in any sense, she's hung around JK well enough that is this any sort of prophecy or occultism, or that she could sense that similar? Because I know he is similar to JK.
Well, he's Toreador, and he's knowledgeable about certain things. If you ask him, he says his specialty is around the Mediterranean. And this is simply a book about awakened orders. There's the Order of Hermes, for example, and the Technocracy, and you're not familiar with awakened lore.
Yeah.
But you kind of gather that it might be Victor's dad, or it's maybe he was a mage before he was a Tremere.
How would I know that information? That's not really science.
No,
Curious.
but it's kind of the only two explanations you have in your mind right now.
Yeah, okay.
Because it's not a book that describes kindred mages. These are actual humans.
Yeah. It sounds really weird, but I'm gonna... Can I touch the book? Can I... Okay. He'll let me do that?
Yeah, he puts it in front of you.
Okay.
He's just turned it up to the section where, well, that particular order is.
I don't know the craft, but has anyone rebound the book recently? Has there anyone been... Has this been just stored? Is this... Like, when was the date it was originally obtained by this man who's a collector?
You have no idea, unless you ask him.
Okay.
You can't even date the book because of the enchantment on it.
Yeah. She's gonna do something really weird and smell the book. She wants to know what fibers. and any plant material that was used to make up this. Like, is it papyrus, Egyptian papyrus? Any heightened senses? Any, like, does she smell blood? Does she smell, like, what's the ink possibly made out of? Is there any, like, pigments?
It's parchment.
Okay.
And, well, the ink just smells like ink.
Okay.
With a hint of something. You can't really pinpoint it, but it's probably the pigment.
Okay.
And well, it's impossible to date the book, but at least 400 years.
Yeah, she's gonna basically shove everything off, other than do not let anyone see this book beyond, and this is an order from the Camarilla, basically the prince.
Oh,
I'm
don't
gonna
worry,
order.
dear, I'm only showing it to you because you're primogenitor. This is from my private collection.
Okay. I know someone who could be very potentially dangerous looking for this specific book for God knows what reason. I have really no interest in making things a little bit less. I want to make things as less complicated as it is. Can she walk out and call her coterie? She needs to start connecting people, like figuring, like making connections here.
I will let you try, but it's
Okay.
not gonna happen this session because I need to get through to
Oh, that's
through
fine.
a few more scenes. But you can definitely start like calling people up and saying like, "Where the fuck are you guys? We need to meet."
Yeah.
Call a council meeting, definitely.
Yeah, she just does not want this book out of sight, specifically because Nemesis wants it. That's it.
Yeah. Well, he's promising to keep it safe.
Yeah, she doesn't even want to leave the premises. She's gonna like make a phone call in the other room.
Well, you're more than welcome to be there and sniff the tea. And
She does that, try to de-stress.
it smells nice.
Good.
It does smell nice. It's very potent because he can't taste it. He can only smell it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we jump scene again.
Cool.
Alex,
Yes.
you're in a very private place with
Yes.
Adrian, Judith
Yes.
on a table, still a stake in her chest,
Yeah.
and a pouch of ashes. Kind of gauging the whole thing and looking at Judith. She seems at peace, but you kind of also have the feeling that if you pull this stake out, she's going to return to a feral state.
Yeah. So, my first question is, would Alex think it's possible to mesmerize, dominate her in order to keep her calm in that way?
You've done it once before with Victor, but you know that it's kind of iffy when they're frenzying.
Yeah, because, yeah.
But she shouldn't even be frenzying because, as far as you know, Thin Bloods do not have a beast like you do.
Right. But she's also undergone changes, which is why we needed to stake her in the first place. So,
There is this obviously there if she needs to be held down. But
okay.
he's
All right.
just-
Well, that's what we're going to do. My thought is that she needs to somehow ingest the ashes or otherwise imbibe them or something. So his thought would be to actually, if it's possible, to mix them into something she could drink, so that he can say, "Okay, take this, and you're gonna feel better."
You can definitely combine it with either just alcohol or water or whatever. And
A spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down, type of thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, he's going to go ahead and do that. one of his signature drinks, the Lacrimosa. And so he's going to go ahead and mix that together. He is going to make sure everybody's in place, ready to have Darius and Adrian hold her down if necessary. If necessary, just kind of ready to act, ready to lock eyes with her and dominate her as need be, and then prepare himself. And basically, he's going to pull out the stake and get ready. So
do you want to pour the liquid in her before or after you pull out the stake?
I didn't realize that she would be able to take it before he pulled out the stake. So yeah, if it's possible for her to imbibe it safely without,
she's on her back and you can sort of just pour it into her.
Yeah, I can do that, sure. So he's going to go ahead and pour that in slowly, and he's going to lean down. He's going to whisper, "It's going to be okay. This is going to make you feel better." And
her veins are starting to glow a bright orange as the ash enter. And when you pull out the stake, she starts coughing up blood. She's kind of twisting on the table. She's lashing out, but it's more like a dying animal trying to just, she's not, if you just step back, she can't reach you because it seems like her main issue is being in pain right now. And she's just writhing on the table. And definitely going through something. Adrian is looking worried back and forth, but takes a minute, but it feels way longer because you're basically just looking at a person in pain. A lot of pain. And then she goes still, but you can see her chest moving. She's breathing and you can feel the pulse. And when you kind of peel back her lips, there are no fangs or anything, and she's gaining color back in her cheeks. But she's passed out definitely right now. But she's, for all intents and purposes right now, she's human.
He's going to feel a wave of relief from that. And he is, since she's sedated basically or passed out, he's going to double check, quick, easy pulse reading and all of that. Just, make sure that all her vital signs seem what you might hope for or expect from human being living and breathing. And then he's going to tell them to leave, basically, except for Adrian, because Adrian is going to be there to assist him with the crafting of her memories. That's going to be the other crucial step for getting her released back into the world with no memory of him or his coterie or the past 4 months or any of it.
4 on a human mind.
Is he allowed to do it as well?
Well, she's sitting Judith up and she's forced her eyes open. And then locks gaze with Judith, and she seems more awake now, but in a tranquil state. And she's just kind of very intently looking into her eyes, and you kind of see Judith's eyes moving. They're shaking a bit, like something is definitely happening. And Adrian, she says very quietly, it's gonna take some time to remove everything and replace it with something else.
Of course.
But if you have to kind of focus on the memories that you want to pull out, and you have to almost believe yourself the memories you're putting into their mind. You really have to will it and use your dominate to force their mind to settle the way you want it to.
Okay.
I have opened her up, so if you take over,
Yeah.
it's easier because these are memories of you. I have removed myself from the equation. She will not be able to remember me. So what I need you to do, Alex, is just do a well, obviously with one. Let me just see the modifiers here. Do a dominate manipulation +2.
Right.
Unless you want to rouse.
I'm gonna rouse.
Then it's a
This
plus
is very important.
+4.
Yeah. So
A
that's
little bit of hunger gain.
I'm sure Bradford is looking on.
Oh, he thinks this is a complete waste of time.
Yeah. All right. So that's 4.
5.
Yeah. And we're gonna willpower to seal the deal here. 6.
6. 6 is a very good roll. You're going through her memories. You see it as like you're experiencing it themselves, but you're replacing it with what you have in your mind. With the whole how she was at
Right,
a concert and she's won a competition, or she was one of the lucky few, or she was just, the lucky one in the audience.
Yeah, he's going straight from the very first moment that they encountered her and everything that potentially happened before that. He's reaching in, all the way back before the encounter in, the sewers and everything. Each one he's carefully replacing with details of this wonderful kind of study abroad gap year type of trip, to Paris, and France. She's with her friends. There's wine and all kinds of fun things happening, museum visits and scenic places and shopping. He's able to transform without necessarily like having to remove, in some cases, like some of the shopping trips, just the feelings from those memories and repainting them with, shops in Paris and, musical events, where she might have experienced recording sessions and things like that. He changes it so that the venue and the playing and everything like that, it's all different. So he's working with the material that's there, but he's also carefully changing it and transforming it so that it still feels like the feelings from those memories in many ways are preserved and held intact but shaped. So he doesn't want to deform or remove any more than he has to. He wants this to be a precise surgery. He wants this to be, an artistic rendering of what she feels and remembers for every single encounter that she's had with any of the other Coterie members. Her time with Naomi and her time with any of the other members of the court. He's going back through and he's taking his time. He wants to make sure every detail is accounted for.
It is a lengthy process that takes...
With Mr. Harris, everything, like all the time that she's spent there, her memories of his entire place are essentially going to be painted over with memories of extravagant places in Paris and throughout Europe that she might have traveled to. When she thinks of her time in Paradisa, or where her memories are drawn from that, he replaces it with, equivalent, majestic places so that none of it remains. so that it is all transformed.
When you're done, and you have gone through her mind a couple of times just to be sure, I assume you give Adrian some sort of sign that you have completed, and she just simply steps in front and says sleep right at the end, and she just falls over. Says in a quiet voice, Henry is faking all the digitals, and then I have begun doing all the legal shit.
Excellent. Thank you.
But she will have to actually return to her parents to be declared alive, and we can kind of let things, just run their course from there.
Yeah. And as he said before, he's going to. Alex is, mechanically speaking, insofar as he can care about anybody at this point, like he still cares about her, and for him, this is a success. Not just for like her, not just for Judith, but for him as well. And he's going to go into more detail about that, perhaps in another scene.
As a storyteller, I have to ask the question: do you think she could be a touchstone?
Yes. And the way he would do that is it's his way of making sure, like doing certain things in her life and her family's life to make sure that he has indirect.
You're keeping an eye on her.
Yeah, exactly. But he's very aware of the fact that if anybody sees a consistent pattern there, they're going to find it. So there's layers there between him and Judith and her family. He's covering his tracks insofar as anybody can.
It's more like if she ever applied for a job, maybe you make sure she gets it.
Right, like exactly. And a person from a person hears, and basically it works that way. But it's very important to him that he's able to make sure that she's safe, but at the same time, he's also simultaneously and in a completely different direction able to conceal his presence in her life at all times. Because that, of course, never needs to, she never needs to know he's there. So, and neither does anybody else. So, which is what he's more concerned about. He doesn't expect her to come find him, although that would be a surprise. But it's more, he knows how the Nosferatu work. He knows that there's people that are good at this. So. Yeah,
definitely. And Henry is working full time right now, so she can return to the world of the living. You're, I assume, in your bar area, everyone has kind of removed themselves from you. Judith is being taken care of. She's sleeping at the moment. Everyone's doing their job. And Mr. Harris shows up and says, "You wanted to see me, sir?"
Yes. Come in, Eric. And he's using his first name. And he's sitting there and he's drinking a lacrimoso as well. And
long night, sir?
Yeah. It's a very long night. And he'll wait until Harris is sitting down. Do you want anything to drink?
If I can, sir, I would be honored.
You're allowed. Yeah, by all means. Feel free to help yourself. Alex has, of course, his personal bar inside the suite there. And once he has that, he says, what I'm about to tell you, I'm saying to you because you're the only one who knew me the way I was before I was all this. You knew me before I was Prince.
I I just knew you as a rock star, really, and a
Yeah.
entrepreneur and philanthropist, really.
Yeah, you did. And I know that no matter what happens, and he's saying this, he's struggling through his humanity loss. You know, he's struggling through to express, to try to manifest this humanity that remains in him. That you would still be there for me no matter what occurred, what happened, from here until the end. And he's looking at him,
As
you know.
far as I understand it, as long as I keep drinking your blood, I'm always going to be around. That's the way
Yeah.
Mr. Darius explained it.
Sometimes it doesn't work like that. I may not always be around. But that's not my point. My point is, I know that you will be there at the end, no matter what.
Of course, sir.
And then he's going to try to open up here, and he's going to say, you know, because he's able to be vulnerable with Harris in a way that he can't be with anybody else. And because Harris he's loyal, like completely loyal because of various reasons. And he's, you know, so Alex is going to open up. Since the first night we were called to court, the construction site, way up on the penthouse floor there, I have fought through, my coterie and I have fought through challenges that I can't begin to understand, even now. When I was summoned up there the first night, I didn't realize all of this would happen. I had no idea, no concept of it. Nor could I fear it. I have not had a single moment where I could even display any kind of fear about everything we've been through. And that includes Antigen and Mithras and his damn Heralds of the Sun. And Bradford. He's gonna like look over to the wall. And his dark designs. Gabriel and his beer-swilling anarchs. Elders that are beyond imagining. Nathaniel and Balatia. Hell, we even brought back the Morgan. The Sabbat and their houses of monstrosities. Wraiths and sires from the void itself. Bloody demons from hell itself. Swords that I felt take a piece of myself. I couldn't possibly be ready for any of that. I used to just sing. I was up there on stage, I used to just sing. That's what I wanted to do. That's how I found my path and my way through this life, this world. I used to sing about love and hate, really good sex and really bad violence. I sang about Lilith before I even understood what she was. I knew each of those songs by heart. And now I'm like one of those jazz players, making it up as I go in the moment. I never know where the words will take me. I never know how this song is going to go. I'm just trying to keep up and be what the music is at this moment, in this moment, in this moment, what it needs me to be in all that I may be able to. Here I am. He's like pointing to himself. I know I'm still me. But there are times when I hardly recognize myself anymore. And he's thinking back to that moment in the cave and the house and everything. Like even in a boardroom, for Christ's sakes. It's all bigger than I imagined. And he's going to point to the tree, and imagine the whole building. Really, it's just going to motion everything. This tree, this place, this story, a story that, as you just said a few minutes ago, doesn't have an end potentially. Most books they have page count numbers. This one, I don't even know how many pages it has. It's a life without end, a song without end. It just keeps going. It's an impossible thing to imagine. He's going to look at him. He's going to say, the whole time, as all this is happening, as I'm just making decisions from here to here to here to here, I'm trying to hold on to who I am and who I was. That's why I'm going to let her go. That's why I'm going to free her. Eric. That's why I'm letting Judith go. Because she's not so far gone that she can't find her way back. I don't know where I am. I don't know where I'm going. I'm trying to hold on to what I am, who I was. She can still do that. She can still get back to who she was. She can still be who she was. She can still live that life. If I can give that back to her, then even if I can't find my own way back, I can at least say I helped somebody else too.
Maybe.
I saw the way.
Maybe she will help you return to a place that you're comfortable. If I may say so, it's an honor to serve someone with such perseverance and determination. And as long as I have known you, anything you put your mind to, you can achieve. So if you really want to get to a place you don't think you are right now, I think you can achieve it. Because you always get what you want through hard work and good plans and loyal people.
He gives him a face. It's like, I respect your optimism, but like it's almost like a sad smile because he's not sure where that's true at all, where that's going to happen. He feels like all of this is just he's barely holding on to everything, and that he doesn't know whether he's. But Mr. Harris's words. He nods, says, "I hope you're right. I like to believe that you are." And I want to thank you for being with me through all this. You're a good man, Eric. I mean that.
It means a lot to hear you say that, so I'm simply trying to do my job as best as I can.
So am I.
Can we do more?
We can. And that's kind of really, that's the scene right there. So.
Well, you get something off your chest, and Mr. Harris is fiercely loyal, and you know that it might not be 100% real what's coming out of his mouth because he's Gould and everything else, but it still feels nice to hear.
Yeah.
And also he tries to understand you, and you actually feel like you have some sort of connection, but he does not know what it's like to be a kindred.
Yeah.
But we jump scene to the last brief scene. We have to do a bit of a re-roll on an Anarch meeting next time for Vaughn, but right now, Killjoy, you're back in Nemesis Haven. It's only you two guys. The three, they needed some fresh air after a while with you, and kind of split up because they were borderline killing each other, or at least it looked like it could go that way, and the psychologist declared that maybe some time apart would do everyone some good.
Well, that is odd for vampires to need fresh air. But fair enough. Yeah. No.
I think the time apart is more important here.
Yeah.
But it's you and Nemesis, and she's just gathering a few things, putting them in a satchel. It's vials and 2 curved daggers, like a kriss, very snake-like shaped. And she looks at you and just says, "Are you ready?" with a big smile.
Takes out his earphones. Stops listening to Purple Rain by Prince. Yes, sure.
I think I've found a target for you. I'm just gonna be there in case... Never mind. I'm just gonna be there to get you there. And...
Nemesis, I've got this. Don't worry.
Once you've claimed it, then I'm going to. But I'm gonna wait till I see your success. She kind of stretches out her arm and touches one of the weird gooey things on the wall.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
Yeah, like he is gonna gingerly take her hand, and like he breathes in and breathes out, which is rare.
Remember, time is weird in there. We might return on a very different time.
We're immortal.
Anyone you need to call before? She's flippant in her tone.
No, it's best to leave those things behind.
Quite agree. And you are pulled through shadows and enter the chamber where you have been before. The sarcophagus where the Morgan fell out of is still open, and you can see the staircase into the Hellgate behind it. The wraith hanging above the altar is looking at you guys but not interfering. And Nemesis is just going, "Eeny, meeny, I'm just fucking with you, it's that one over there." Pointing towards 1 o'clock, I think. If this is a sarcophagus, it's depicting a man with a very large sword, kind of holding it on his chest, and what looks like flames, you think, but they might be shadows, living shadows behind him. It's a crude, chiseled depiction in the sarcophagus, but you think that's what it looked like. Nemesis is moving towards the sarcophagus to remove the lid, but right now she's just scanning it to see if there's any traps or anything on it. And she looks at you and says, "I don't know if he's gonna wake when I pull off the lid, so you better be fast."
I'm fast.
She flips it open.
I pop that celerity if it's needed.
It can't hurt.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a person falling out. He's Caucasian. He's pale. He has a lot of tattoos, the Celtic rings kind of entwining on his arms, and kind of like a mirror image or like a shadow of himself follows out, so he's kind of appearing displaced.
Okay.
But you jump on him. You sink
as he comes out, Killjoy would, like, in this slow motion celerity, reach out and not catch him, but like get his hand around the throat and basically choke slam to the ground and immediately just begin to sink in, the fangs right around the neck.
You sink in. You feel the little blood that's in him flowing into you, and you grasp on to the soul. And this is where we cut and end this season with a bit of diablerie.